Spoilers to follow. The Last Voyage of the Demeter is a film that carries with it a fascinating concept, an adaptation of a single chapter from the iconic novel Dracula. The setting is intriguing, set aboard the ship the Demeter as it journeys from Transylvania to England, with Dracula preying upon its crew. It's a chapter in the book that has long piqued the curiosity of fans, and it's been excluded from many of the major motion pictures in Nosferatu. You get glimpses of this, what happened to the Demeter, but you never had a full-on film exploring this one chapter in the Dracula novel. It is a fascinating idea. It's a period horror film set in the 1890s, entirely aboard a sailing vessel, and it features a fantastic design for Count Dracula. However, despite some great performances, strong practical effects, and visually pleasing CG, the film leaves much to be desired. The film's main shortcoming lies in its storytelling. At times, it feels unnecessarily long, dull, and repetitive. While the movie certainly looks great and boasts impressive production design and cinematography, it fails to fully capitalize on its rich potential. The lack of character development is particularly disappointing, given the diverse cast of characters introduced throughout the film, from Clemens, the ship's doctor, played by Corey Hawkins, to Toby, the young boy, to the mysterious stowaway girl, Anna, to the ship captain with his deep voice perfect for narration. The crew is varied and interesting on paper. Even Wojciech, who's played by David Dalmatian, gets some good backstory, and you start to think the filmmakers would want you to care about this character. However, the film fails to make the different parts of the ship feel distinct or exploratory. This lack of variety and progression in the setting makes the film drag, as it gets stuck in a rinse and repeat formula of crew members being killed at night, followed by attempts to identify the culprit the next day. One of the most glaring issues is the crew's unanimous agreement about the presence of something sinister aboard the ship, despite not actively investigating it. I mean, the discovery of Dracula's coffin is delayed until the film's final act, which feels both implausible and frustrating for the audience. Like, come on, it's got a bloody red dragon crest on it, and even the sailors at the beginning are talking about how it's a bad omen. It's evident that The Last Voyage of the Demeter had potential with its unique blend of old-timey setting, confined space, and vampire horror. However, it really does fall short of expectations and fails to maximize its characters. There are moments of promise, particularly in the early stages of the film when the ship's mysteries are still unfolding, and they're introducing the ship to us. This is interesting because there's still mystery. We still want to know what's going on. But these are overshadowed by the film's failure to maintain suspense or provide meaningful character development. Once you know it's Dracula on board, there kind of isn't much to be excited about, except, well, in what cool-looking way will he eat his next unsuspecting victim? It just feels like the film progresses in a way that we're never evolving. We're just stuck in that same tone. Nothing's changed. Even when someone dies, it's just back to, well, on the next night, the next crew better have a good pair of eyes. And it's like that for 2 hours. Just rinse and repeat. Dracula killing dudes on a boat, which might not be bad. It's visually pleasing at points. It just could have been so much better. To improve the film, it could have benefited from a more concise narrative and deeper exploration of the character relationships. If they introduced internal conflicts among the crew, such as some desperate sailors turning to dark measures to rid the ship of the perceived evil, it could have added depth and tension to the story. Additionally, incorporating stakes beyond the central vampire hunting on a boat would have made the film way more engaging. Instead, we just have all the characters going crazy trying to do the same thing, and it's just boring to watch. Let's say they had taken the stowaway girl, Anna, and tried to sacrifice her because they thought she was the root of the evil. Then you would have had antagonists on the boat as well as the vampire, and it would have been more interesting. But I really feel like here, they just went in the most boring way possible. Still, I do want to say this is a unique take on the vampire period piece, and it delivers memorable moments. It just ultimately succumbs to slow pacing and repetitive storytelling. However, for those seeking an unconventional vampire flick set in a single atmospheric location, it might still hold some appeal. I do love my old Christopher Lee vampire movies. I love the Bela Lugosi ones. So I did like, bits of this. It felt like an old throwback. It didn't feel like Twilight or the Vampire Diaries. I feel like those are the modern media's, what they show you when you ask for vampires. But this, could have been much better, but it also could have been worse. So that's my take on Last Voyage of the Demeter.